Hey everybody, welcome to Grimm's Forge Gaming. Today we're going to do a quick walkthrough of Imperial City, the sewers and the districts, and we're going to kind of look at it from a PVE standpoint and from a PvP standpoint, and how both sides can actually make good money. There's a lot of experience down here to be made as well. And so very first thing, couple things that we run into regularly while we're down here in Imperial City. I'm in the base right now for Ebonheart Pact, and when you first zone into the base for Ebonheart Pact, the exit is right here. And I get that all the time in zone chat. How the hell do you get out of here? So the exit is right here, and if you're looking at your merchants, got your home goods and just your merchants there just to the left of them. It's a little longer hallway and it'll say exit when you walk up to it. So there's so many people that have a hard time locating that. And anyways, that's where it is. Right across from it is going to be an entrance into the sewers. And when you look at the map here, the sewers will span pretty far all the way to the center. And there's multiple portals there, and then you can actually spawn Moloch Ball, and if you complete that, you have a chance at some unique drops. So there is a skin that drops that's like 300,000 gold. It's very rare. I've gotten it to drop twice, and there's some non-combat pets that drop from that fight, and then you also get an achievement that gives you the transluminal gold, or I think it's called transluminal violet, but when you look at it on weapons and on armor pieces, it ends up looking gold. And so anyways, again, looking at the map here real quick, let's just touch base on a couple things. EP area spans all the way to the center here, and this entire tunnel system is considered the EP tunnel system, and AD is to the bottom right, and their base is going to be here. Here's their exit, and anyways, all these tunnel systems are theirs, and then DC, their base is all the way at the end, and all their tunnel systems all the way to the center. Okay. If you are leveling a character down here, I'd probably say the most important things before you come down here. Number one, make sure you have your Mundus. You can come down here as soon as you hit level 10. Make sure you pick up your Mundus Stone. And then number two, if you're an EP player, make sure that you travel to Davin's Watch. And there's a quest right by the Way Shrine there at outside Davin's Watch where you can start the For Glory quest line, which is basically battlegrounds. Okay, so pick that up. That's where that's located at, and you can. If you're a stamina player, I say that you should start doing battlegrounds fairly early because you want to get to vigor. You want to be able to unlock vigor on your line, and so you'll unlock the Alliance War, Assault, and this is important, Vigor, and then I have it morphed to Resolving Vigor. That's a very important heal for most stamina classes, so start doing your BGs early if you are a stamina class. But anyways, travel to Davin's Watch, and just to the left there at Davin's Watch, when you talk to the Battle Master there, but there is a vendor there, and that vendor sells low-level potions. They actually kind of level with you a little bit. But the most important thing about those potions that are sold there, the stamina version has major brutality, and the Magicka version has major sorcery. So you have access to, and I think it scales with you, so it's like 25, 26% at low levels, and then as you get closer to CP, it starts scaling down, and then it comes in line with that buff, which is a flat 20%, either major sorcery or major brutality. But pick those up early because those are a difference maker for you, especially if you're doing BGs or you're trying to level down in the sewers as a low level. It gives you access to major brutality or major prophecy or sorcery, I think it is, at low levels, and increases your damage output by a lot. Okay, so that's a little tip for you. Make sure you grab your Mundus, make sure you grab those, quick slot those, and then make sure you have a bunch of inventory space available as well, and we'll get to that in a little bit. When I come down to the sewers and I'm leveling down here, when I'm leveling a new character, I will normally just go into the sewers and kill mobs and players if they come looking for trouble. Or we'll at least do our best to try and kill those players when they come looking for trouble. And kind of a rule of thumb is if you see someone, you're an EP player or DC or AD, and you see someone from another faction, kill first, ask questions later, because you're already at a disadvantage. You're a low level tune, and you can't leave it to chance that they're just there for a sky shard or just there for a book. You can't really try and play nice. You are leveling in a PvP area or a PvP zone, and so for me, that's the part of the excitement for leveling down here. I like that I can kill mobs and make a bunch of gold and get a lot of levels. The EXP down here is really nice, and there's always this possibility of running into somebody. And maybe it doesn't go my way, maybe it does. But anyways, I would definitely um, try and stay in the sewers if you're a lower level tomb. Also, along those lines, when you're doing Imperial City, I would almost always come to Imperial City CP. Even the only time that I wouldn't go to Imperial City CP is if you have no CP. That's it. Even if you have 2 or 3 CP, I would still come to Imperial City CP and I would assign those CP points. You're going to be stronger than not because if you've gone to no CP Imperial City, you're playing at a disadvantage. It's very tough there. You run into a banner, which we'll get to, like a boss or other players. It's a very tough fight in no CP. Whereas in CP, as you're getting champion points, assign those champion points and then use them. And if you're an 8-10 player, 8-10 CP player, it's real easy for you to come down here and level. So I say almost always go to CP Imperial City if you have any CP at all. Assign the CP points and go there. The only time that I change, and if I'm on a low level tune and I'm trying to level, I'm trying to get EXP or whatever, and there is people, AD or DC, right outside the base, and they're just standing out here waiting for you to come out of Sanctuary. Sanctuary is this buff right here that allows me not to be attacked. You can see I kind of glow blue. And you can get pretty far down into the tunnels about to here before that wears off, or about to here before it wears off. And then that's where you're at, And so, anyways, AD and DC will come over here and they'll have 1 or 2 or 3, 4 or 5 people I've seen, and they just wait for anyone and everyone and they kill them all. So, if I ever am trying to level and I keep running into that problem and they're killing me and I'm just on a level 10 or whatever, then I will go to no CP. So most of the time those guys will want to stay in CP because it is tuned perfect for the build that they're running. They're probably running Fury and New Moon or whatever and pushing, 6k weapon damage or whatever. And if you took that to no CP, it's a little bit tougher to sustain with it. And they're having a blast here with their friends. So, anyways, just to recap that, you'll hit L, which will take you to Alliance War, and you'll want to queue for CP Imperial City. And if you're having problems here with players hunting you or killing you, not with being killed by mobs. If you're getting killed by the creatures or mobs here, you definitely do not want to go to no CP because the mobs will only be harder there for you. Okay, CP Imperial City. Generally speaking, on the maps, as far as it goes, we'll look at this. There's portals, and portals have a chest that spawns after you clear the portal, and the portal will be a group chest. So everybody that tagged any of the enemies that spawned from the portal have a chance to loot that chest. In those chests, you're going to get Telvar, you're going to get some gold, and then you get random drops. For AD, since I'm a EP faction, sorry, as I loot those chests, I have a chance to get an Ebonheart Pact motif. And the motifs will be like Ebonheart Pact shoulders, or Ebonheart Pact chest, or Ebonheart Pact whatever. And those things, those motifs, if you don't need them, will sell for gold in a guild, in your guild trader. You could sell those for anywhere between 5k gold to as high as 26k gold, depending on what the item is and when it drops. Okay, so any chest that you loot in Imperial City, in the sewers or up top, has a chance to drop one of those motifs. So there's good money. Um, you could be spending 15 minutes down here, come across your first chest, and make 25k gold on one drop. And so I really like that situation. And that's just making money off the motifs. Telvar is another level of currency for Imperial City and the districts. And Telvar is, you can see it'll be tracked. Currently, I don't have any Telvar stones on me, but Telvar, I'm at 1x drop. And I think it's when I get to 100 Telvar, then it goes to 2 times the drop, then it'll go up to 3 times, and then it caps out at 4 times the drop. And there's a level of risk and reward with carrying Telvar. Telvar that you collect down in Imperial City by killing mobs or looting chests can be transferred on death. So if you get killed by another player, you're going to give up half of your Telvar, and they're going to get it. Okay, and so that's the risk and reward to leveling down here. Is if somebody comes and kills you, they get half your Telvar, or if you kill them, you get half their Telvar. And so the PVE mindset is, I say, focus on just gaining your Telvar, um, getting a lot of equipment drops, because the equipment, there are a lot of ornate equipment drops down here, and the ornate equipment will be, it'll sell at the vendor over here. You'll sell the ornate equipment, and it'll sell anywhere from 100 gold to 288 gold per. And so if you have a bunch of inventory spots open, which I don't have too many on this guy, I still need to get some of that, but if you have 200 inventory spots and you have 288 gold, you had 100 items at 288 gold, you're going to make some good gold while you're just leveling down here. And that's not counting what motifs you get that you can sell, or how we're going to convert our Telvar into gold. Okay. Another important tip to know is, as you collect Telvar, I get this a lot, people don't realize that you can actually bank your Telvar. And so you'll come over to the banker, and the same way that you would bank your gold with a banker, I go to bank, and right now I'm withdrawing. I want to deposit, and when you select deposit, down here it'll say deposit currency, hit R. Okay, now I could deposit gold, I could deposit AP, or I could deposit Telvar. Okay, and so that's important to know. I would say, once you hit 1,000 to 2,000 Telvar starting out as a new player while you're leveling, anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 Telvar, you want to bank it. Okay. Unless you're not worried about the Telvar, you like the level of experience, the EXP that you're getting, and things like that. But I can tell you, if you save up your Telvar, we'll cut through over here. Here's where you can decon all your items if you're working on your stuff as a crafter. But this guy right here, Bam, Telvar General Merchant. This is how I make my money in Imperial City. Okay, I come here and I buy these Hacky Joe, and that might be mispronounced, I don't know, we're just going to call him Hacky Joe. But I buy these, and you can see my master merchant right now, it says 16,740 gold. So if I were to buy one of those for 5k Telvar, I could basically I could sell that through a guild trader, and someone would buy it for 16,740 gold. So 17k per. Basically 5k Telvar translates to a guaranteed 17k gold if you buy one. But these items, what this is used for is the Prismatic Enchants on armor, which I have here. And that Prismatic Enchant gives you max magicka, max health, and max stamina. Okay. Normally you want to put these on your big armor pieces, your 3 bigs. So your big armor pieces are going to be your chest, legs, and helm. Okay, chest, legs, and helm. So knowing that enchanters are looking for them usually in groups of 3, that's how I like to sell them. I'll sell them in groups of 3. And so we'll do some math here real quick for you. 16,740 times 3. 50,220. Okay, so 50,000 is what you're going to make by selling these in groups of three. And I think when you, after your guilds take on it and everything like that, your traders take on it, it'll end up being like 47,000 or whatever. But so basically, you will, um, for every 5,000 Telvar that you save up, get one of these. Okay. Another thing that you can do is now this is what I would say if you're trying to make money. You don't care about anything else. I'm trying to make money. They also have materials here for crafting and stuff like that. The another way to make money is these rune boxes, but there's no guarantee on the time frame that these are going to sell, and it's an immense amount of Telvar. Okay. So, but when we're talking to this guy here, we're going to explore all the ways to make money. But if you look at this, my master merchant, 1.3 million gold. All right, two sales in the last 90 days. So if you saved up 250,000 Telvar, you bought one of these, you could look to sell it for about 1.3 million. Okay, this one sells for a little over 1 million, and this one sells for 875,000. Okay, if you wanted to save up that amount of money and put this on, and then there, like I said, there's no guarantee in what time frame that's going to sell. This stuff sells a lot. I just sold 29 of them earlier today. I only had it up on the auction house for like 4 hours. I sold 29 of these in one sale. Okay, and it was like 450,000 gold, 500,000 gold, whatever. Okay, so these sell very quickly. Going down a little farther, the waxed apothecary parcel. So if you are into alchemy and you mix your own potions, or you're trying to power level your alchemy, these things are really nice for 500 Telvar. They give you like two or three. Um, so it'll be like six items, six regents for alchemy, and then two to three of them per. So it's got a really nice, it'll save you a lot of time. Think about how long you've been walking around in the wild, looking for this stuff and picking it up. And it's like once an hour you might find a columbine, and this will come with three or four or five in it, um, just by for 500 Telvar. So this is really nice. You could actually just buy a ton of these and then turn around and sell the Columbine. So that's another thing. Um, Another little trick here to cover is the Sigil of Imperial Retreat. This costs AP. AP is another form of currency. Alliance points, you get those from doing Battlegrounds, from doing Imperial City, um, when you're capturing the districts or killing players. You get these for taking keeps, defending keeps, killing players in Cyrodiil. Okay. But the Sigil of Imperial Retreat can randomly drop in chests throughout the sewers, and basically this does a channeled effect and it brings you back home. Now, it's important to know that while you're doing this channeled effect, you could be targeted and you could be killed, and it will interrupt the cast on it. And for that reason, I usually don't spend my AP on a Sigil of Imperial Retreat. If I happen to have one, I'll use it, but I'm not going to spend 10k AP on something that's not going to guarantee that I can get out of trouble. Another option for you while you're down here leveling or doing whatever in Imperial City or the districts is you hit L and you go to Cyrodiil and you queue for any one of these. So if you're a low level character and you're trying to level down here, you'll want to queue for this, and anyone else just queue for standard and go there. The nice thing about that is I could be in combat. So let's say I'm running and I just hit L while I'm running and hit standard and then hit this and hit enter campaign and then exit. And then I want to listen for the um, it'll actually go to, because I'm still in combat, if I'm running like that, it'll actually go to my notifications, okay? And I might have to hit N and hit accept. And I can hit accept, and while I'm running from a banner, running from people or whatever, I could be mid-combat fighting somebody, I just phase out and I teleport to Cyrodiil. And so that's definitely cheese, but it's important to know, especially if you're a low-level player and you're just trying to save up what Telvar you can. You're not looking for trouble. So I'd say PvEers, that's a very important tactic to know. Also, while you're in Imperial City, whether it be the districts or the sewers, when you are looking in your inventory, you should always be crouched and hidden. Don't just stand there looking in your inventory. There are gankers, people that sneak around waiting and looking for people that are looking in their inventory. They're not buffed up or anything like that. So always be crouched, always be hidden when you're looking in your inventory or when you're leveling up. You just hit a level, you want to assign some points and then pick some abilities. Always be crouched, always be hidden. Another thing too is when you're looting the chests out in the sewers or districts, always buff up before you um, open the chest. And if you can, like if the chest is here, the entrance to this room is back behind me, I will actually run around to the back side of the chest, buff up, and I'm facing the doorway, and then I will loot the chest. And while I'm looting the chest or picking the lock, I can actually see who's coming. Now, if they're a Nightblade or whatever, yes, I'm not going to be able to see them, but that's important to know is use your line of sight properly, and give yourself a warning. There might be an AD or DC player that runs around the corner, sees you, and just that second of you being able to hit escape and back out of the picking the lock and hold block might be the difference between life and death for you. Okay, so those are a couple little tricks. Another little trick too when we're talking about exiting the base. We had talked about there's two exits to the base. One of the exits into the sewers is right here in the middle, and that goes out right across from the exit from the sewers, and then the other one's all the way at the end. And so when you run all the way down here to the end, there's a doorway, and this doorway just takes you out into the sewers on a side door. Normally, when you're coming back to your base, this is the door that you'll run through, okay? But you can also exit that. So if there's a big group, there's a fight going on, and you want to try and flank them or get around them, you'll just exit this door and run around them, okay? Um, let's see here. These ladders here go up to the districts. Each district above us, when we're looking at the map, here's a map of the sewers. EP side, AD side, DC side, here's the center. But if I right click on my mouse, it'll take me up to the districts. Right now, there is a capture the flag type situation for the districts, and if you own the district, you can see the AD owns this district, and so their capture bonus is 33% more Telvar by all activities. This flag is being fought for right now, probably by EP, and this flag's being fought for right now, probably by AD. I'm just guessing here. And DC's probably trying to take that flag. We'll see if this turns blue, this turns red, and this turns yellow. But, anyways, if they're successful, okay, so that this was already an AD flag. Whoever was attacking it failed. Okay, the flag did not flip to whatever color, and so it just remained AD. While you're attacking those flags or trying to take those flags, it's important to hold block and stay buffed up on those flags. So Nightblade bombers will like to blow up groups, and if you've got 10 people on the flag with you, you know you're going to be a pretty juicy target. So even if there's only one or two of you, you should always be holding block, and you should be looking to your left and to your right, and keep your head on a swivel, okay, to where people are at, and you'll see them coming from a side door. If you're taking this, there's entrances on each side, and you'll see them come from this area, and they'll come through the doorway, and they'll just be running up. So you'll have a little bit of warning. As long as they're not a Nightblade or something stealthy, you'll see them coming, and you'll know the fight's coming. So hold block while you're on the flags, taking the flags. Let's go back down to the sewers real quick here. There are two entrances from the sewers. We have all these entrances up to the districts while we're in base, but while you're in the sewers, you also have two exits up to the districts, or I should say, if you're in the districts and you want to head back to your base, you don't have a Sigil of Imperial Retreat, and you don't know how to queue for Cyrodiil and then turn around and queue for Imperial City and bounce right back to base. The other option is to go to the districts that have your sewer entrances and then climb down those. One sewer entrance is going to be in this little room right here, and the other sewer entrance is going to be right here. And you can see this is the ladder to Arena, so Memorial. And I don't know why it doesn't show up right now, but it should be on there. There should be a it should say ladder to Memorial District right there. Okay, and so when you go up here and you look, here's ladder to Memorial. There's your sewer entrance. That would take you to the one that's not showing up, and here's Arena, and that should take you to the other sewer that we're talking about right there. And then it's just a short run back to base from there. So worst case scenario, you just want to go to Memorial or Arena, and you'll come out this sewer or that sewer, and then just run back to base, bank your Telvar. Okay. Another option too is when you're up at the districts. The same way, if I were to exit into the sewers right now, I would get that sanctuary debuff or buff. Every time you go from one district to the next, as long as it's these side doors, the main doors do it, but it's a little buggy from time to time. But the side doors, you have a little ledge or balcony you're standing on. And so if you wanted to log out, wanted to assign points or level up, or wanted to do the queue process to Cyrodiil and then bounce back to base, run to one of the side doors, go through it, and while you're in Sanctuary on the other side on the little ledge or balcony, that's where you'll do that process. And that Sanctuary doesn't drop until you jump down off the ledge. And so that's a nice little trick to know. If there's a fight that's going out of control, you're kiting a big group around, and if you can make it to one of the side doors and go through the side door, you're safe for the time being. Okay, so there's also, for your PVE players, or newer PvP players, there's a saying in the sewers and in the districts and in PvP in general, and the saying is the tail gets bit. And so if you're with a group of people that just took this flag right here, and they're moving here, and you're standing there in your inventory, even if you're hidden, you're assigning points, you're trying to clear up some inventory, and your whole group runs off that way, there is a high likelihood that you're going to be killed because you're by yourself. And the Nightblades, the gankers, the people that are waiting, they might not even see you. They just see the group running off, and then you start moving, and then now they see you by yourself, and you're going to get killed. Or Nightblades will wait at the door for the last person to go, and they'll jump you just before you go through the door. The tail gets bit. So it's important to stay with your group. If you're going to do any type of activity in your inventory or leveling, go to the door with your group and do it there. Okay? Even if they move to the flag and you're still at the door, that's just a short run from you to meet back up with the group. You won't even be able to get through this door if you're in combat. Okay? If you're on this side and you're the last one there, the tail gets bit. So don't linger in rooms. Don't pick locks on chests while your group runs ahead, and not expect to be ganked or killed. Okay. Let's see. So looking at the sewers here. In the sewers, there are world bosses, and the world bosses are stationary. They're pretty much relegated to a room. So, like, there's a world boss called Wadraki. Wadraki? There you go. And it's the cross swords here. And so the districts have, or the areas, this is EP sewer tunnels, they have 4 world bosses that are stationary. Along the way, you will run into mobile world bosses, and these are called banners. They're super strong Daedra, and they will either have one huge banner on their back or 2 huge banners, and each one of them has their own fight mechanics, and it's important to know those mechanics. There's going to be a lot of AoE on the ground. You're going to have to break free from roots and chains, and sometimes they do huge AoE cleaves, and so they're tough fights when you first start coming down to the sewers. And I would probably recommend, as a low level character that's leveling, to just steer clear of them. you can fight them and you could solo them, no problem with experience. And if you want to throw yourself at the lion, keep throwing yourself at the lion and figure it out. That's fine too. You will eventually figure it out, but it's not an easy fight when you first start out. And I've been in groups with 5 or more people that have never experienced a double banner before, and they just continually die. They'll die 5, 6 times because it's such a tough fight, and these things have 1 million health, and I might be the only one that hasn't died, but I've fought them a lot and I know the mechanics. So anyways, some of the most important mechanics to know: if you're fighting a banner and they summon vampiric totems, the vampiric totems are priority. You want to kill those totems because they'll summon 3 of them usually, and each totem will heal the banner after they expire. So they're only up for a short while, and if you don't kill them, they're going to heal the banner. And the banner could almost full heal from half health, something crazy like that. So target the vampiric totems. And it'll look like it might be something bad, like a big red AoE field. It's just letting you know that there is a vampiric totem there, and you'll notice that you're not taking damage while standing in the big red area. It's one of the few times in the game that you're not taking damage in a big red area, but vampiric totems are important. Another thing is if you run into a single banner that has a two-hander, and the single banner with the two-hander, when he enrages, so he'll knock everyone away from him, and then he just starts doing a spin cleave over and over again. Simply kite him. Do not try and stand and face tank him. There's no reason to waste the resources doing it. If not, maybe you can withstand it, but there's no reason to burn the resources when you could just simply move away from him. Don't try and kite him through your team or through your party, because he'll cleave everyone he hits. And for some people, it's one shot or two shot. Okay, there's no reason to stand and face tank him unless you're using some type of ultimate ability like corrosive armor. It's no problem with corrosive armor or whatever, but generally speaking, just kite him. And don't waste the resources. But that two-hand cleave, I've been in groups with newer players, and it has killed so many people. And so I would say those are the two most dangerous um, mechanics for the banners. Vampiric totems, because you'll never kill that boss unless you understand that I need to target the vampiric totems, and the two-hand boss that does the cleave. There's also a like Nightblade type that has 2 daggers, and when he enrages he hits very hard, but he moves slower during that time frame. So that's another person that you want to kite. Don't try and face tank him. Even with max resistances, when that Nightblade goes into that phase, he still hits hard. And so there's no reason to waste the resources trying to face tank things down here when you never know if another player character is going to come around the corner and you have to fight them. So, but anyways, when you're looking through the maps here, your first banner will actually walk this area and not too far outside of your base. And basically, they just walk to this room and then they turn around and walk back. And that's all this one does. It walks back and forth from this room, actually right here, back and forth. Okay. Your sec, and you'll go down and through a doorway, and through this doorway you have 2 banners here. You have a banner that moves around this area, back and forth. It could be either clockwise or counterclockwise, and that banner spawns in this room, and it's a very quick spawn time. So if you kill that banner, you could actually be standing here where you just killed it, and it will spawn right on top of you. So be ready for that. It will spawn in as short a time frame. You could kill this banner, run in here, kill this boss, and by the time you come back out here, the banner will be there again. And that's a nice little trick to know if you're actually farming Telvar from banners and you've got enough sustain, enough healing power, and you guys are feeling like you can handle that. So there's a banner that spawns here and patrols there, and there's a banner that spawns here and patrols here as well. And you have another world boss here. Um, When you move down into this area, this doorway here, there's just a world boss there. And when you move down into this area, there's no boss or banner. You do have portals, multiple portals in Mullig Ball's room, and then around the middle you have multiple portals as well. And I don't know why it's not showing up, but there's a sky shard in this area too. So actually, it looks like none of the sky shards are showing up right now. Strange. But anyways, there are sky shards and lore books down here. And anyways, this Mullig Ball fight, like I said, you can get the Transluminal Violet if you kill the big portals in the middle. There's three of them, and then kill the banners that spawn from that, and then it'll spawn the Mullig Ball fight. And a little tip is, as he starts getting low on health, like under 100k health or approaching 100k, move away from him because he'll explode, and that one-shots a lot of people, and then those people end up losing half their Telvar. So you fought your way all the way here, killing all the banners, all the world bosses, and then you fight Mullig Ball just to get blown up because of a mechanic at the end. So, and when you start looking down the different tunnels, every tunnel has multiple world bosses, and then they also have banners throughout those. This is a huge area, the sewers are, and I'd say for a PvE player, spend a lot of your time down here farming Telvar, killing world bosses and stuff like that. And as you get more accustomed with PvP, then you can move up to the districts, because in the districts you're going to run into your more competitive PvPers that are used to 1vxing and things like that. That's not to say that those guys aren't going to come down and come running through here and just kill everyone inside as they go. And that might be you. You might be on the tracks and when they're coming through, or maybe you're the one that stops them. But generally speaking, they kind of stay up to the districts and do their thing there and allow you room to level and get Telvar and stuff. Now, along those lines, this is a true story for me. I was when I first when Imperial City first came out, I was one of the guys that was just killing mobs and getting Telvar, and it would take a long time to save up any amount of Telvar, and this guy went running past me, and I saw him 3 or 4 times, and there were times where I saw him and he's like 1vxing and killing a bunch of people, and anyways, I'm killing mobs, and he comes up to me and he says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "Hey, I'm farming Telvar." And he goes, "You do realize there's an easier way to farm Telvar, right?" And I'm like, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he's like, "Come with me." So within 15 minutes, I had 50k Telvar. 15 minutes, 50k Telvar. I just followed this guy, and he went, and we jumped in a group of AD that were out in their sewers farming. We went through the sewers, cut through the districts, hopped down a sewer entrance, went to a group of AD, wiped that group of AD, went down a little farther, wiped another group of AD, and I had 50k Telvar, and we were heading back to base with 50k Telvar. 15 minutes. And I was like, holy crap. And he goes, "Yeah, man. So here's the different mindset, okay? The mindset is this: you could be a PvEer and go and fight these creatures and get your Telvar that way, and it just takes you a long time to do it. But if Telvar is what you want, the best way to do it is let all these other players farm your Telvar for you, and then go collect your Telvar from them." And that changed everything for me, is like the way I looked at it. And so I think for a PvEer, it's important for you to understand that that mindset is out there. And when those guys are coming through the sewers trying to wipe and kill everyone, that's what they're doing. They're coming to collect their Telvar. So you don't come down here to a PvP area and think that, I should only be able to PvE down here. Okay, if you're down here, you're fair game. And along those lines, we'd already said this, but kill first, ask questions later. If you're in here, you're an EP, and you're killing mobs, and you see an AD or DC, just assume they're there to kill you, and you go right after them. Give them hell, and hopefully you survive. And it doesn't matter that they might have been coming over here for Telvar or for they were coming over here for Telvar, but it doesn't matter if they were coming over here to get Sky Shards, or they didn't have this world boss, or they needed this lore book right outside the base, because there's a lore book sitting on the ground right outside each one of the bases. Don't assume why they're there. Just automatically assume they're there to kill you, especially if you're a low level character. If you're a level 10 or 20 running around, there is no reason. I mean, they might be honorable, but I doubt it. They might look at you and go, "Oh, that's a lowbie," and let you go. But more times than not, they say that's fresh meat. That's a low B. He's probably got a bunch of Telvar. I'm going to kill him, and there's not going to be much he could do about it. Okay? So if you're down here and you're leveling, just understand that. You see another faction, take them out. So kill first, ask questions later. Moving up, we covered everything down here. Moving up to the top, for the districts, there is a world boss in each one of the districts that has different mechanics, and there's a lot of Telvar to be made off those world bosses. You could solo those world bosses with the proper build. Um, it helps to be not just a good PvEer, it helps to be a good PvPer as well, because more times than not, like I said, your more accomplished PvPers are usually up here fighting other PvPers going head to head, and they're capturing the district, and then they're looking for the world boss because they're going to get 33% more Telvar. And if you're over here soloing the world boss, while you might be able to handle the world boss solo, how do you handle the world boss solo plus one AD or 2 AD or 3 AD or 5 AD that come, you know? And so you always need to be ready. It doesn't matter how good you are at PvE, how good are you at PvP, because you're always a potential mark. And so you can see in just a short time frame we've been talking, the districts are flipping regularly. It's fairly active for only having one population bar right now. So anyways, to recap on ways that I make money, I take my Telvar, I save up my Telvar, I bank my Telvar so I don't lose it, and I have two different mindsets. One is if I want to turn some music on and just kill some mobs and gather some Telvar and just have a casual night of killing mobs and the random person that comes to try and kill me, that's fun. Or if I want to player hunt, and if I'm going to be player hunting, then I'm going to go down into their sewers, and I'm that guy. I'm the guy that's going to go through and kill everyone in sight and take their Telvar. I'm coming to collect. I might run from this sewer entrance all the way to this base, and then I'll go into White Gold Tower, and then from White Gold Tower, I'll re-queue and come right back into Imperial City. And or I might run from my base all the way to there and then all the way to there. And I'll have 17k Telvar on me or whatever. And there's been times where I've come back to base and I've had 60k Telvar on me. So that would have been a nice grab for someone else if they would have killed me. But I was doing the killing that day. So, anyways, if I'm player hunting, I want to run around with as minimal Telvar as I can. I don't want to have 17k Telvar because I'm specifically looking for altercation. I'm looking for fights, and I want to take their Telvar and then bank it and then go again. But there are times where you're feeling really good and you'll just run the whole map. So normally, if I'm up in the districts, I'm not going to carry a lot of Telvar on me at all because that's where, like I said, all your accomplished PvPers are. If you're going to player hunt, if you're looking for really strong, stiff fights, this is where you come to player hunt. You hunt those players up here usually. Not that you can't run into them down in the sewers, but like I said, just the skill gap between who's up here regularly and who's down in the sewers. Your PvEers generally hang out in the sewers, and your PvPers are usually up here. Everyone technically is PvPers. If you're coming to Imperial City, you should be a PvPer. But so, anyways, how I make money again to recap my Telvar. I'm buying the Hacky Joe, and I'm turning around and selling the Hacky Joe for 16k per, or selling them for groups of 3 for 50k gold. Another thing too, we should talk about the vendors here real quick, just before we close, because this video went a little longer than I wanted. But there's a handful of people that actually asked me to do this video. One of them on my YouTube as well, and then some friends and guildies. They said, "Hey, could you like do a intro to Imperial City. We talked about this guy, the Telvar General Merchant, and up here is your Telvar second, your armorers, and this is where you can get PvP specific gear for CP 160, and it already comes in impenetrable. Imperial Physique is a unique set for sure, and it requires that you have 10k Telvar on you. So if you see anyone glowing bright blue running around the districts or wherever they're wearing this set, they have a minimum of 10k Telvar. But if you look at the five piece, while you are in Imperial City, you tap into the power of the Telvar stones you are carrying, increasing your health, magic, and stamina by 996, while you have 4 times Telvar stones multiplier. This effect is increased by 600%. So basically that means 6k on top of all of your stats just by equipping this. So this is a really, really impressive max stat situation, or armor set, and you can get it heavy, medium, or light armor. Um, Over here, here's another way, another armor, and Shield Breaker is a nice set, and Phoenix is a nice set. I use those on multiple builds, so you guys want to check that out. Magicka for the Phoenix, and then Stamina for Shield Breaker. You could actually get your set here. Now, these armorers only give you the actual armor pieces. If you want a chance at getting the weapons or jewelry so you can put together some unique builds, you want to come to the Equipment Lockbox Merchant. And so the armor over at those other merchants was 5k. This is only 3k, but it's complete RNG. You could get, so let's say we come down to the Phoenix set here. It could be weapons, it could be jewelry, it could be anything, and it could have any trait. Okay, so it's complete RNG. But for 3k Telvar, if you were to get a Shield Breaker necklace, the Shield Breaker necklace might sell for 25 to 35k gold on the guild trader. So you spent 3k Telvar and you got a 35k or 25k gold ring or neck piece, okay? Or you got an Inferno staff of the Phoenix, you know, that might sell for 100k and for 3k. So if you want to roll the dice and see what you get, you might get a bunch of useless pieces, but this is a way. Or if you want to put unique sets together, for instance, my sorcerer's running the Phoenix set and I have it jewelry and weapons, you know, and then I have my armor set something else. And so I rolled the dice and I got the pieces I wanted, and I sold everything else or deconned it. So that is an important little trick. You might spend 3k Telvar and get a 35k ring that you could sell and make gold. And then over here you have the Telvar Jeweler, and everything here is gold. And I don't know if it's working as intended or what, but every time I decon one of these, I've gotten a chromium out of it. So I don't know if that is by happenstance or that's how it works. If you decon a gold, you automatically get a chromium out of it. And maybe I'll spend another 100k decon it just to see, and we'll just assume that okay, well that's a thing. You get every time you decon one of these, you get 100. You get a chromium, and I think if you look at the price on chromium, it's about what 100k, 80 to 100k, who knows? But I'll have to look at it and see. So basically, you're trading 100k Telvar for 100k gold chromium piece. So. And there's a style station over there if you want to look awesome while you're running around killing people. Great. So that is everything, I think. This is an example of one of those crafting motifs I was talking about, Ebonheart Pact. I got this out of chest earlier, and you can see my Master Merchant says 4,000 on it. That's probably the cheapest one, too. Most everything else will be more than that. So, also, randomly running around, sneaky like, there are treasure scamps. And the treasure scamps, it looks like a regular scamp, but they run their own path, and they're trying to pour it out. And so if you end up killing the treasure scamp, you'll get a bunch of random drops from time to time. It could be Kuda, it could be Chromium, it could be whatever. And sometimes they drop this scamp's Telvar sack, and you just open that up, and boom, now you got a little Telvar, extra Telvar. So that's everything. We went over the EP side, AD side, DC side, and we went over the districts up top. And I'd like to see more people coming down here, even if you're a PvEer. The quest line down here is really cool. And you could do the quest line during off hours right now, especially with COVID-19. I'm sure that there's a lot of people that have the opportunity to work from home or stay at home, and there is some downtime in the districts that you can get these quests done. And then I'm down here all the time. If you bump into me and you need help, like questing or whatever, feel free to ask. Like I'll run around, kill everything in sight while you're questing. So, but that's everything. Thanks, guys.